This video is going to give you a broad overview of the navigation throughout Phsych Advantage. It's going to go into detail about some of the icons, ways to navigate around from screens, some different information about kind of how to enter how to enter different things and the different ways to enter information within the electronic health record within Phsych Advantage, including where you'll find appointments, and also the ledger for billing. It's just going to give you a broad overview though, and there'll be additional videos that will be available to give you more details in different aspects of things you'll have to enter. The first thing you're going to have to do is obviously log into this Advantage Cloud. So you should have the Advantage Cloud icon on your computer, and the username and password should have been given to you. Once you log in, I'll show you where to actually connect within to get into the program. So this is the screen that you will come to, and you're going to go down to the start and click on Advantage, and this is going to launch the login for the actual Phsych Advantage program. So you're then going to enter your username and password. Oops. Once you've logged in, you'll be at the main page. This main page has a number of different things on the top. The main thing that you're going to be using in here, and a lot of this is just for generating reports and some information, but the main thing you're going to do from this page is always just go into that patient portal. So that's going to the patient record, where that's where everything is going to be located. So you're going to click on patient, and it's going to bring up the main page. So this is what you're going to see initially. So oftentimes if you have, like I have that some patients kind of loaded in here, so some of them are showing up because I was in them just a little bit ago, but this is where all your patient information is going to be. I'll give you just a quick layout of how it looks. Any of your appointments that are that day that you're logging in will be located and listed over here. If you click, like if Susan, who I have as a patient information right now, if she was on my calendar for today, she would be located over here. And if this patient information was not loaded, I could simply click on her name, and then all that information would come over here. And down on the bottom is any appointment history. So this is the appointment history during testing and just kind of like playing around with this account, which is a fake account. These are the different appointments that have been scheduled for this patient. So any of your basic information is going to be in here. So let me quick give you an overlay of some of the icons at the top. I'm just going to do a general overview. So search is if you're going to be searching for a patient, if you're looking for somebody. Generally, most practitioners won't be using the add. This is more for office staff to add new staff or add new patients into the system. The edit would be if you wanted to edit this patient's record. So if I wanted to edit some information about this patient, I would go here and it would pop up another screen so that anything could be edited. The back and next button is to go through patients that you have. It may not work for me right now just because I don't have I don't have anybody in my today's schedule, but if you have multiple people, you can go next. Usually this isn't used a whole lot. And delete is to delete anything that you're working on. If you hit delete right now, it would delete this patient's information. Print, and there's a drop-down arrow. It has some different options of different printed reports that you can print. And then this is the appointments icon, which we'll be going into in a little bit just so you can see that. This is where any of your appointments throughout the year can be seen. And then usually nothing is done with any of these, but is there any alerts that are in the system about that patient, any comments, documents that are uploaded. This exam is the electronic health record. And then ledger is your billing. And then their work list is a number of different reports. I'm going to show you the work list. A little trick that I found out. So if I click on the work list, it gives you a number of different reports that can be ran. So one of the nice fun things that is in here that I recently found was if you wanted to see like a patient list, like sometimes if I'm doing um, just working in my schedule and making sure people have appointments and I want to see all my clients to make sure everybody has appointments in my calendar as I'm setting appointments for the year. You can go into my patients and then you can request a report for just to list all your patient names, which is kind of handy. And there's a number of different reports that you can run through that work list icon. This is obviously just logging off. So jump is another one where basically it's just jumping screens. So like if I wanted to jump to the task tab where I can add a task or edit a task that's in that patient record. You can do that. There's a number of things. And this is probably something you can sometimes easily use like when you're in the electronic health record because you can jump from the electronic health record to the ledger really quick and easy with one step. There's other ways to do that as well. This one is not normally one that's used. The utilities is also one where you can just there's different things like probably like if it's accessing history or appointment history. It's just more information stuff. So I would say out of these icons on the top, the main ones are going to be searching for patients if you're trying to add information. Your appointments, that's going to be an often used icon. The electronic health record, the exam icon, and the ledger. Those are probably the most common icons that you're going to be using within this system. So the first one I want to show you is the appointments. So if you click on appointments, so this is just a test schedule. So there's nothing, obviously it's a Sunday. So this one, just for test purposes, we have Saturday appointment schedule. So I just wanted to show you kind of what it looks like. So if I go to this Saturday, this is what I have in that schedule. There was a test intake or some testing that was scheduled, and then this mystery patient was on my schedule for 4 o'clock for a therapy session. So this is kind of what it would look like. So within the appointment, so if this was today's day, and you can change this day so you can look at different days. If you select the down arrow and this will come up the calendar and you can click through different months and go through. There's nothing, I don't have anything scheduled in this one right now, so it's all pretty blank. But you can definitely see that, I mean, as you can see, it's pretty blank. This one I just did just so you can see things. So if I wanted to bring up the next Saturday, I could just simply click on it and it would bring it up, and then I can exit out. Now, if you want another way to navigate, so if I had anything in my schedule and I wanted to edit it, you can definitely click this edit button up here. Another way to edit is to right click on anything in your calendar and go to edit, and you can see there's a number of other different options as well. And the back and next is to navigate through days. So if I hit this, so this template is only for Saturdays. So you can see if I hit back, it'll go back to the Saturday that I have some appointments in, and next we'll go to the next work day and the next work day and so on. Insert, if you wanted to insert an hour, you can do that through this. Refresh is just refreshing. If you needed to block some time, for instance, maybe this 5 o'clock I'm going to be out, so I have to block it for some reason, you can hit this block icon up on the top, and it's going to ask you the block type, or you can just put none. The duration, I'm just going to do it for the hours, so I'm going to do 60. And now you'll see that area is blocked, so nothing can be scheduled in that open area. The view is another feature. So right now I'm just seeing one day. So if I hit the down arrow by this view, you can see I can look at the week. I can look at the entire office for that day. I can look at a month at a glance. So if I go to week, it's going to look a little bit different because this format's only set up for Saturdays. But in general, if you would hit view, if you do weekly, you would see Monday through Friday. And you could see all your patients through Monday through Friday. Print gives you drop-down arrows where you can do print your schedule. So if you want to do a week, you can print, or you can do there's different ways of printing. If there's any daily notes, for instance, like maybe you have a patient who wants to get on your calendar, but you're full, you can definitely add a daily note. You can say, I'm just going to show you. And now you'll see there's a note, so everybody can see that. So then if there is a cancellation that day, somebody will see that and go, okay, yep, we'll call that patient and we'll see if they want to get in. So that's a quick overview of this, and I will go into another detail a little bit more about the appointments, just how to navigate through and how to change things in another video. The electronic health record, that's the next one that you will use often. So when you go into the electronic health record, which is called exam, you're going to click on that and it's going to pop up another screen. So as you can see, I have another box. So I'm just going to maximize this so you can see the whole thing. This is what it's going to look like when you bring somebody's record. What's going to display down here is the most recent entry. So if the last thing was a progress note, that's what's going to be there. Or if you just had an intake and for this electronic health record, just an intake is entered. So that's what you see. But you can definitely go back and forth to seeing different things within the electronic health record. So again, some of these icons are the same as what we've seen earlier on the previous box. So there's a search. Obviously, you can search, and that's going to just bring up the box to search for a patient. So if you wanted to go back to another person, this is how you could easily quick do that. If you wanted to add something within the electronic health record, you're going to go to the plus, which would add an exam record, and you're going to get a drop down. So if you're adding a EFT note, a progress note, an intake, there is also options to add a discharge summary, or you may want to do a treatment plan, which the treatment plan, let's see. Here's the treatment plan. It's just down a little bit further. And you'll see on this side, it says who is the owner. So if it's a U, it's something that has been created for our agency. If it's a C, it's a CompuLink document. Any of them can really be used. The ones that are being used currently are the intake and progress notes and the EFT note that are designed for our organization. So let me go back. Once you go back, click onto these, it'll pop up that record, and that will be in another box and kind of overlay on top of this. So that's what the plus is. And again, the back and the next is to move within the record. So right now I'm in the intake. If there was something else in there, I could go back. There's nothing else, so it's not going to take me to anything, but um, you can kind of flip through the different dates. So your previous progress note, you could go back and view that. And then if you hit today, it's going to be what was entered today to get you back. So the edit is to edit this document. Delete is if you want to delete the document, obviously. And again, there's some more print options. Tab is to tab to the current. Oops. I'm going to hover. If you hover over any of these, you'll see what they are. It says, oops, tab to current exam layout. So it's basically going to get you to the current one that you're in if you're kind of going back and forth between. We're not using the images orders or ER or orders or medication orders. Sign off is what you're going to click when you're finished with the document. So in this document, you'll see on the very bottom that it's not signed off on. Once it's signed off on, the date and time would be right here. The fees is for the ledger. So this will automatically switch you over into the ledger. So that's a way to navigate from the electronic health record to the ledger. You, however, don't want to do this until your document is final and complete, because it's going to take things from the electronic health record to fill in what you're billing. This one there's different ways, and I'll explain that in another video with how to log into the ledger and how to add things, because that's just one way. This is not the most common way to add into the ledger. You usually do it directly in the ledger itself, which I'll show you in a little bit. Again, these are just some more additional icons. So now I'll show you the jump. It's going to look a little different. So from here, if I'm working, I'm like, I'm going to go change some appointments for this one. I can go directly here and click on the appointments. Or if I want to go to the ledger and look at what I posted in the ledger, I can click here and it'll take me to that. So I'm just going to click appointments just so you can kind of see what that looks like, because I'm not going to enter anything in here. In another video, I will show you how to enter an intake and a progress note and a treatment plan more specifically. So I'm going to click the appointments, and as you can see, it takes me right to my schedule. So then I could enter a different, well, if it was on a Saturday when I'm working, then I could enter an appointment for that person. So we're back at the main page. So we just went through the exam electronic health record and what that looks like. Now I'm going to show you the ledger. So this opens the ledger. So this will show you any billing. So no billing has been done for this patient, but if there was, you'd have a list of different things in here and what is the balance. So you'll see the insurance balance and the recipient balance on here. And I'll go through in more detail some additional tips and tricks, but again, most of these are similar, but obviously for payments, there's some different things that you can do as well in here. The other thing that I wanted to show you, just more specifically, you'll see throughout Psych Advantage these 3 dots. In any of these 3 dots gives you more options. So, for instance, if I wanted to edit this patient, I can go here and hit edit, or I can go to these 3 dots and hit edit. Or for instance, these are different action items that need to be done for this patient. I can go here and I can add, and it'll add the box. I do want to show you some different ways this may look. So if I'm in a patient electronic health record, so I showed you these, but there's also tabs. So this is an intake, so there's multiple tabs within this document. So this is your initial information, but there's also additional information that goes along with it. So as you can tell, as I flip through, on all these, there is those 3 dots. So this one looks a little bit different. So if I were entering, this is the health history, some past medical history, I have different options. I can go here and hover over those 3 dots, and it gives me the ability to add. I can do past. So if it's looks like an icon like this where it's a bunch of different dots in a square, this will give you, this has been in here for a while, so that's why it gave me that message. It will give you check boxes. So you can literally just check what is that history. Yes, to those things, and then those will carry over into here. And then you'd hit save to save it in there. So, or you can hit the plus and it will give you a narrative box and you can just type it in. So those are the differences between adding through. This is going to give you check boxes, and this is going to give you the ability to do that narrative. So you can see in here, now you can see I kind of put some stuff in there when it's here, it shows that there was something that was entered. So some of these tabs look a little bit different where you have these 3 dots and it says like behavioral housing, education, vocation. So you can click here and gives you the boxes, or I don't want to, so I'm gonna cancel right now. I can go here and get the same boxes. The date, so this date up here, just to explain the difference, this date up here is the date that it's being added into the electronic health record. The exam date is when it actually occurred. So if you're going in and entering things later, you'd want to make sure that this date is the date that you actually saw them, because that date will carry over into everything you enter. If you go, the other thing that I wanted to show you, there is some fields, like for instance, under medication. If they're not on meds, you can click this, no meds, and it'll put none reported. So it's a quick way just to show that there's none. There's also in here, so you have the option to do different assessment tools here, but also under the therapy tab, there's an assessment tools. So there's different things that you can click on to add. So again, you have this to add this way, or you can do different tests and assessments, and it gives you a number of different assessments you can do for every patient, but I'll go into more detail with that when I go through how to do an intake. I just want to show you the different ways of entering different information. The other one is under the mental health status. So sometimes you'll see the thumbs up sign, which is an autofill feature. So instead of the 3 dots, so if I wanted to autofill this one will autofill just that section. So you can see now just this section is autofilled to the normal or most appropriate. And you can edit. So if the mood wasn't normal, you can click the down arrow and change it. Maybe she was very anxious, irritable, and then now that will change or add into there. You can take the normal off. You just have to deselect the normal one. The other way, so the star is encountering favorites. So if you have some just general things you normally do, you can preset this to do the same thing each time. It's just as easy, however, just to do the plus sign. So this plus sign is going to do all the tabs. So if I click this one, it autofills everything. Right now there's a glitch in the system, and for some reason perception does not autofill. Hopefully that'll get corrected. And this is if you want to forward from the last visit, if it hasn't changed from the last time. So there's, just so you can see, there's just some different ways. So as you can see, when I did do everything, it did not do the assessment. So this one has its own plus sign as well, and it'll autofill that there's no risk for these different areas. Or if there isn't one, you can click that, and just the one that's not, you can you can change that and put a narrative in the narrative box. So that just gives you some different ideas of like ways to add information. You're either going to have a plus, or not a plus, but a thumbs up, or in some of them you will have the 3 dots, and then to add you'll have this plus, just to give you kind of an idea of what some of those icons look like for entering information. So I'm going to go out of this electronic health record and go back to the main page. So now the other things I wanted to quick show you is different ways to pull up a client. So as I told you, if this was a day that I was working, your clients assigned would be listed here. To go into a client that you're working with that day, you can simply click on the name and their patient information will come up. And you can thumb through each person that's on your schedule that day. So that would be the first way. The other way to find a patient would be the search. So if I wanted to search so mystery patient, there's only one of them in our system. So when I put the name in there, and you don't have to type the whole name, you can just do the last name, and then it'll search. And then if there's the only one, it'll automatically bring them up. Now, if I'm searching, I'll do one that I know there's multiple. You can see there's multiple. I'm going to click on the one that I want, and now that one will come up. The other way to find a patient is just to simply go into your appointments. So if I were to go into my appointments, like I'm going to go back and enter something for my session yesterday, I can simply bring this up and go to my schedule for yesterday. And now I saw this patient for therapy. I can right click on there, go to their demographics, or I can go directly to their ledger or directly to their electronic health record. So for purposes of right now, I'm just going to go directly to their demographics and bring them up. If I go there, now that patient is back in my patient information. And now I'm working within this one. So that's a really quick overview of how to navigate within Phsych Advantage and some of the ways of where to find your main things like the electronic health record, your ledger, your appointments, and how to click on certain things and how to edit. More details will be given to you in some other videos. So once you're done, obviously then you can either just log off this way or just simply X out of the program, and it'll ask you if you want to leave, and you're good to go. So now you've officially gone through that navigation. I hope this was helpful to help you with navigation within Phsych Advantage.